Welcome to Seeds for Change. Today I just kind of wanted to talk on the seeds, the S, so the spiritual part. The verse that I'm going to talk about is Genesis 2:16-17, and it's, "But the Lord God warned him, you may freely eat the fruit of every tree in the garden, except the tree of knowledge of good and evil. If you eat its fruit, you are sure to die." And so we watched this with a pastor last night, and so I love the fact that it said the death that he was talking about is the death of our relationship with God, and it separated us. And so that's why Jesus needed to come into the picture, was to give us that relationship back so that we can be in communication with God and to freely just be loved and feel that love. And so that death that is being talked about is the death that we experience here right now in our world, as we're all experiencing it. All the things that are going on in our country, the things in Afghanistan, the COVID. I mean, everything just keeps coming at you and crashing at you. And it's like, who are you going to anchor to during these times? It's not rules, it's not obligations. And also, something else that was pointed out was that this pastor had gotten on the airplane, and next to him was this woman, and she had been drinking, and she got into a conversation, and so she was kind of lucid. And she's like, "So what do you do?" And he's like, "Oh man, I'm gonna get asked this question." And he's like, "I'm a pastor." And she's like, "Oh, you're one of those." And he's like, "Yeah, I don't like those either." And it really struck me, because that is my saying. I feel the same way. Like, my kids feel the same way. My family feels the same way. We love Jesus, but a lot of people in the world, the faith, the belief, the Christianity, the whatever it is that what you were grown up with and what you were taught was rules, and it was rigid, and you have to do this, and it was like God up there like trying to I don't know, not torture you, but just punish you. And that's not the God that I know. That's not Jesus. And the Jesus I know is the loving Jesus. And so when you see a Christian and they're not full of Jesus and love, and yes, we're all going to make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time. That's what was my break that I had from this, is because I needed to get reevaluated. I needed to be sifted, and God did sift, and it's not pretty, but in the end, he brings so much joy, because he helps me to be able to have a heart that's even more full of love, because of how much he loves me and how much he pursues me. And he's not waiting for people to get fixed up before they come to him. He's not waiting for you to get it all right. There's no thing that you have to reach or accomplish. And he just loves you exactly how you are, right here, right now, just as you are. And it's just that he wants you to come to him just right now. And there is nothing that you can do anymore to make him love you more. There's nothing that you can say to make him love you more. It's just he sees you already as beautiful, and it's your choice. And so that's what happened in the garden, is that we were given, when he made us, he gave us choices. He said you can eat from the tree or not. And we chose to eat from the tree, and that separated us. So I just wanted to kind of come forward and just bring to you kind of, we're all in pain, and we're all suffering, and it's all hard, but we all have choices in our everyday life in order to choose how we're going to look at our day. How are we going to evaluate what lenses? And I always talk about the lens that we're going to look through. So are we going to look for the positive in life, or are we going to look to the negative? Because if you continue to look for the negative, you will always find it. It's there just waiting. I mean, in the Bible, it says the devil seeks to devour and to destroy. And he does. He seeks it, and he looks for it. And it says that, the harvest, God even says, the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are light. So those that actually want to do God's will, that have that heart, that desire to really share the love of Jesus. Love, not judgment, not that you got to do it my way. It's just purely just loving somebody because God loved you. And I just want you to know that each one of you is just so loved by God, and that he knew you before you were even born. Like, he knit you in your mother's womb. It took 9 months in order for you to be born. And he created all that, and he knew where you were going to be right now. He knew your beginning, he knew the end. He's with you all through. He never forsakes you or leaves you. And all he wants you to do is just come to him as you are right now, sinful, as I am sinful. And you know, one other thing I wanted to point out is people always tell me, and it's kind of like, I don't know, they're always like, you always land on your feet, or you must have a horseshoe, or, you know, just because they see the blessings that God has blessed me with. But I've also gone through a ton of trials, and through the trials, God has given blessings, but it's don't discount all the work that, you know, God has worked on me in order to get to this process, you know. And then it comes to prayer too, and the belief in prayer, and knowing that he answers your prayers. And when you really believe and know it, and that's what he says, you know, ask me whatever your heart desires and I will give it to you if you believe, you know. And it's like, if you believe. But at that point in time, you've accepted Jesus already, and the desires of your heart are different than worldly desires. Your desires of your heart are really to love people more. And so therefore your prayer life has changed. And that prayer I was just reading today, and it just kept coming out to me how much throughout prayer that he keeps saying, ask me. You don't have because you haven't asked. And believe. And it's seek me, you know, like treasure. It's over and over, just to seek him, to ask him, to believe that he has your best interest at heart, and to not let this world take over your thoughts, to not let the negative of this world take over the bigger picture, because everything that he teaches us is so contrary to what this world says. And as I have my children going into the world and experiencing it more so, it is so countercultural. People want to know, like, why we're so different. Why do we love these random kids? Because we just do. We were that loved because we are so loved. We know what it feels like to have Jesus love us. And when you feel that loved, you can't help but to want to have other people feel that love. And so I'm praying for you. I pray that you know how loved you are, and I pray that it's your will that you choose Jesus, to go with him, for him to be your director, for him to change your heart. Not rules, not do this, not do this. It's not all about rules. It's about love. And because you love, your heart changes, and you end up choosing for yourself that these rules and these things are in place for your good in order to keep Satan at bay. And so I know this was a long kind of talk, but I just felt so passionate about it that I just really wanted people to know that even in this tough world that we're living in, where everybody has like such mental anguish, you know, you're beating yourselves up, and that's not God beating you up. God is not a God of condemnation. He is a God of conviction. So a conviction is, I notice something, so I'm going to change my way. And us as believers, we're not judges. That's not our job. That's God's job. All we are to do is to come here and to love everybody where they're at and let God do the rest. Like, that's God's job. And too many times, like I've mentioned before, I have this control, you know, like, and it's just from my upbringing of having such lack of control that I desire for to be able to control things, because I want the outcome to be the way that I want the outcome to be. Instead, God's teaching me that there's other ways to do it. People have other ways of arriving at the same thing, and it's not your way. And you need to let go and let me and trust me. And it is letting go of what we think is best, and truly having trust in God that He loves you that much, that He is going to guide you and protect you. And even when you grieve, He's going to turn that mourning to joy. So He will never leave you nor forsake you. And so it's during all this time that you're going through all these struggles or these difficulties, He's always there, and He just doesn't go anywhere. And so when they talk about those Christians, yeah, that makes me sad too, because those are the ones that say, like, that those were the same accusers that Jesus had. Hey, you healed a man on the Sabbath. How dare you do something good for somebody on a Sabbath? And that was Jesus. So can you imagine us as we're walking around wanting to love on people? People aren't going to like us. And we're going to be sad, because it's going to break our heart, because we're going to be like, what did we do? Like, I don't understand. And it's just something that we just aren't going to understand. And it's okay. And it's not for us to figure out. It's for God. And that's between them and God. And we have to let it go, knowing that God has something better in mind for us. So I hope you have a great day. And I hope you see His blessings in your day today, and that you look for His treasures. Like He says, delight in me. And delighting in Him is just really giving thanks to Him for all the things that we have, all the abundance, the freedoms that we have, the freedom to be able to pray, the freedom for me to be able to even put this podcast out here or not podcast, but this video, to even be able to share this with you. He's just full of so much grace and love, and we don't even start to grasp the bigness that He has for us. I think we take advantage of this much, and He has like this much in store for us, and we're going to get to heaven, and He's going to be like, why'd you only use this much? You had all of this. You could have asked me for all of this, but you only asked for this. So my prayer life is changing. You know, I think of those people that are in Afghanistan. And I was listening to one of the pastors. One of my friends had sent me a video, and it was just awesome, because it showed the faith of the people that are over there, that are converting people that are in Afghanistan, and they're choosing to stay. And that pastor that was over there was saying, don't stop praying, continue to pray. It is working. And so your power for prayer, it works. But when you pray, you must believe, he says. And I think that's the part where we kind of have a problem with, at least me. You know, it's believing that He will answer. That pastor was saying that people were having visions as they were sleeping of how to get out of Afghanistan, and they were finding freedom. So He's answering those prayers. Those families that are in Louisiana that lost their homes, that are on the street, pray for them. Pray that they have people that come alongside of them. You be the change. You do something different. And, you know, that's what I feel God's call on me is my prayers matter. And they need to be bigger, and they need to be bolder. I forget how much I can pray for healing for certain things. I mean, oh my goodness, I can't even tell you how long I was praying for God to heal. You know, like this issue that I had, which was suicide ideation. And He did. He took it away. And I thought for 30 some odd plus years that I was going to have to live with this the rest of my life. I was just, I wore it as if it was a badge that was my name. And He said, no, that's not. And He took it away. And He gave me freedom. And so that love that Jesus has, and the Christianity that we talk about is the Christ, Jesus, the love of Jesus. It's his Bible. It's his word. Not what other people say, not what other people's commentations are, not what other church believers in church believe. It is his word. And his word is active and it's alive and it's for you to study. And he will transform your life. It's not anybody else's job. We're there to encourage and to help, but only God can transform the heart. And so I just pray that you will feel the conviction and the love that God has for you and the desire for you to be your best you, and that you choose, because every day we get a choice. And I love that. What freedom. We get a choice. But anyways, have a great day.